Hey everybody, this is Coach Allison back, and I have your week 28 Defy aging workout to review with everybody. This week we are back to stations, but they're going to be run a little bit differently than normal. So we have 6 stations, but you're actually only going to rotate around to each of them once. And the reason that is because at each station you're only, you're going to be there for 3 rounds of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off. So when you get to each station, you're going to stay there for those 3 rounds. After those 3 rounds are done, then you're going to move to the next station, stay there for 3 rounds, move to the next station, stay there for 3 rounds. So that's how you're only going to rotate around the full circuit one time. It's going to be a little different. You're going to get some repetition with one exercise or one movement for 3 rounds at a time before you move to the next movement. So let's review the 6 exercises for the week. All right, everybody, our first exercise of the first station is an alternating overhead press with rotations. There's kind of a lot involved in this one. We have a weight in each hand, and we're going to bring them up to our shoulders, palms turned inward, as opposed to forward like this. So alternating makes sense. We're just going to do one arm at a time. But the rotation part is we're going to be rotating our body. And when you rotate your body about a quarter turn, we're going to be pivoting our foot. So watch as I rotate to my left. I'm pivoting my right foot. See that? And as I do that, I'm going to incorporate that overhead press. So this is an overhead press, right? So putting that together with the rotation and the pivot, it'll look like this. Overhead press. Okay, alternating overhead press. So there's one thing to keep in mind here. You're gonna probably have, your body is gonna have an urge to want to press the weight forward. And I don't really know why that is. I think it's because we're turning that way. And since we're turning that way, our body has an inkling or an urge to want to like thrust the weight in that direction as opposed to straight up. So when you do that, if you do that, you know, you have, it's weighted. So your body's, then the arm's going to want to fall. So it's very important you're still pressing straight up, just turning the body and not pressing out and forward. So keeping with that in mind, what I just said, I'll show you a few more again now that I said that. So pressing straight up, just turning and rotating the body with that pivot in the foot. Okay, so now that you've seen me do it correctly, pressing straight up, I'll show you kind of again the what not to do. Okay, not pressing like out and forward. Okay, I didn't even want to do more than 2 because that was 10 pounds and it was kind of yanking on my shoulder, dragging me down. So it is a little tricky. There's a lot to think about with that one. You want to make sure that you are getting a full quarter turn with your body with that rotation. So you're gonna want to my suggestion is to put the weights completely down on the floor for the 30-second rest, because even holding the weights in your hands but letting the arms come down, it's still putting a little work on your shoulders, and you're going to be doing 3 rounds of this in a row, and we want to give those shoulders a little rest. So that is the alternating overhead press with rotation. Next station, stability ball squats. This is done on a wall. Okay, got our big stability ball. Haven't done these for quite a few weeks. You want to place the ball kind of about tailbone height. Want to make sure you don't start the ball too high, and I'll show you why. If you start it too high, when you roll down and go into your squat, then the ball comes too high and you no longer have the full back support that we want. So start the ball kind of low. So you're leaning into the ball at about, again, at your butt or your tailbone. Feet are out, so you're actually leaning into the ball. So we don't want the feet directly under you don't want to be standing up perfectly straight. You want the feet to be slightly out in front of you to start. Hip width apart with the feet. And we go into a squat. So we're going to sink down, making sure that the back is staying against the ball the whole time. So by that I mean we're not leaning forward and now my back is peeling off away from the ball. Okay, let the back just draw down the ball. It actually feels kind of nice, kind of like a little very light massage along your spine with the ball there. And keep your body weight kind of more in your heels, or at least even pressure over the feet, but just do not lift your heels up. So don't put so much weight into your toes that your heels lift off the floor. So it's good to just focus on pushing your heels through the floor. And yeah, again, make sure your back is staying on that ball the whole time. So make sure you're not leaning forward like this, so my back is coming off of the ball. Yeah, and again, at the bottom of the movement, you want to make sure your feet are directly under your knees. Yeah, I can get this at a different angle to show from the side, perhaps, to better illustrate this. Yeah. Oh, that's better. Oh, that's much better. So, see how my feet are kind of directly under my knees at the bottom of my squat? Now, if my feet were too far back when I started, this is not going to feel good, but I'm going to show it for you guys. Now my feet are here, but my knees are here. See how they're now not, oh, that does not feel good on my knees. I didn't even want to hold that. And that's why you don't do that. It's too much pressure on the knees. So you don't want your feet back here and your knees out here. You want alignment. Feet under knees. And heels under knees, I should say. Maybe not feet, I should say heels. And that's good alignment. That's going to protect your knees. Something very important to keep in mind with the stability ball squat. Kettlebell front to back step. This one's kind of different. You need the same weight kettlebell in each side, in each hand. And one foot's going to remain planted, and the other foot is going to take a front step and then a back step. So my foot that's planted, so watch my left foot here. Or maybe I'll turn to the side. Yeah, that's better. So it's okay to roll up to the toe like you were gonna just walk normally. It's okay to do that. And it's okay to roll up to the heel here now. So I'll just do a few in a row. Slow and controlled. It's trickier to go from, like right here, it's trickier to go from the front step to the back step. Okay, now notice how I'm staying nice and controlled. The goal here, and I've practiced this is now, and when it was new for me, I wasn't so as smooth, trust me, but it's okay if you're kind of like, if you're stumbling, maybe kind of wobbling a little, leaning, tilting. The goal is to try to work on getting better at that. So shoulders down and back, tall posture. It's okay if you need to at first stop in the middle to kind of get your bearings down. See how now, right now I'm stopping in the middle position to kind of reset myself before I go from each step, go from the front to the back. That's fine. Something to work towards, now I'm doing it, is to not need to take that break in the middle. Halfway through, so at the 15-second mark, we're going to switch legs. And then you're going to start going front to back with the other side. So we don't want to go fast. It's not just doing this. This is not the goal, because this isn't hard. Now I'm just swinging. The goal is to do slow and controlled. Like again, actually come up to your toe like you were going to walk forward like a normal step. If you go slow and controlled, it's actually more challenging than, again, just this. This isn't hard. Okay? So slow and controlled is the point with this. It's actually where the challenge lies. So it's very necessary. Give it a try. Next up is an upright band back row. I'm going to say upright because just to clarify that we're standing up tall as opposed to bending down and doing like a bent over row. That's all. So your band is going to be tied up to something in front of you, probably the racks. Soft knees, that just means very subtle like this as opposed to just locked knees. So it doesn't mean you're in a full bend like a squat or anything. Soft bent knees. Feet are planted nice and firm. Start with straight arms. We're pulling the arms back. And, oh, got a crack in my back. That felt good. Pulling the arms back. As you do so, you're squeezing those shoulder blades together behind you. See that shoulder retraction as opposed to this is just pulling my arms back. Okay, yeah, that's good. But this is pulling them back and squeezing the shoulder blades together. So there is a pretty big difference there, and that's very important to get the full benefits of a back row. So keep the shoulders down, kind of pop out the chest. And we just want to avoid shrugging. So look out for shrugging. And stay nice and firm. Don't lean back. Very big difference, right? Between this and that. So make sure you're not leaning back. We don't want to tip, so we don't want to rely on the bands to hold up our body weight. And that's our upright band back row. Swimming Superman is the next one. Oh, we haven't done this for a while. Okay, so you're on your stomach. No, standard Superman is arms out and we lift and lower, right? So the swimming Superman is, think of like the breaststroke. Okay, that's why it's called the swimming Superman. Yeah, so arms are out. As you lift, you're going to sweep the arms back. As you lower, you're going to return the arms to the front starting position. It'll look like this. You want to keep a neutral neck as you do this, so don't look up like I'm doing now, but don't droop your head too much. So neutral neck, a good rule of thumb is to kind of gaze your eyes, so your sight line, maybe about a foot ahead of you on the floor, and that's going to kind of keep a neutral neck. So I'm going to lift. As I lift, I'm sweeping the arms back. And as I lower, I'm bringing them back to the start. Notice how I am lifting my lower body as well, but not bending the knees. I'll do a couple more. Lift, sweep back, lower, and come forward. Lift, sweep back, getting as much of the chest off the floor as possible. So this all Superman variations are posterior chain exercises. There is, of course, an option for anyone staying off the floor, and I'll show you that next. Our alternative for anyone staying off the floor is going to be an incline cat-cow. It does work that same posterior chain muscle groups. So you're going to need a bench, and we're going to do cat-cow. So soft bend in your knees. Just make sure you're not locking out your knees like that. So soft knees. And we're going to do our cat-cow, which is dropping the head. Now you do want to drop and lift your head, kind of counterintuitive to what I just said about Superman. Drop your head and round your spine like this, also sort of tucking your butt and your hips in. And then look forward, so lifting your head and arching your back. So you're basically doing the reverse of what you just did. And then you keep cycling between those two. So it is very different, but it gets that same kind of spinal movement, and it also works that posterior chain. So that is your alternative to Superman. Okay, everybody, the final circuit is going to be a narrow dumbbell press. So we're going to do this one a little different. We're going to only use one dumbbell. You're laying on your back on the floor. I want you to bend your knees so you have some back support as opposed to legs straight out. So you're using one dumbbell, and you're going to hold the bells themselves. You're holding on the ends like this. That's automatically going to put your arms in the right position to do this narrow press. Okay, get a good grip, of course. And we press up and, of course, release down. Now, if you're using a heavier weight, it's going to be a little trickier to hold onto that bell, of course. So just get a good grip on it, pardon me. You can kind of rest it in your hand, too, so it's resting in the palm of your hand. Okay, so that is our narrow dumbbell press. Okay, be very careful putting that down. And anyone staying off the floor for our floor exercises can do this exact same exercise on an incline bench. So your coach will bring one of our incline benches into the turf space. So you can do the same movement. You are going to be on a bench instead of the floor. And last but not least is our team builder. So everybody is going to work as one big team in the session today. And you're going to do a shuffle jumping jack. So what this is one person at a time is going to, there's going to be a designated area for some shuffles. And one person at a time is going to shuffle down to the end, do 5 jumping jacks, and then shuffle back. And then the next person goes, and we're just going to time how long it takes the whole group to do this, and we're going to cheer everybody on. So it'll look like this. I will shuffle to my end, do my 5 jumping jacks, 4, 5, and then shuffle back to the start. And then the next person would go and the time how long it takes. Remember with shuffles, really quick, soft bend in the knees. So you're in like a little more than a soft bend. You're in kind of a quarter of the squat. Stay light on the balls of your feet, kind of getting that hop. And the jumping jacks, you can do the full jumps like I did, or you can do a step jack. Either one is totally fine. No matter which version you're doing, you're going to do 5 of them. And again, shuffle back and boom, you're done. Let's see how long it takes the whole group to get that done. And that is week 28. I hope everyone enjoys this kind of different way of running the circuit, and we'll see you back next week.